This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And the next time you're planning your trip to Walt Disney World, you say, honey, I want to go to Walt Disney World. And Newell answers you, you know what? You're right. Let's go to Walt Disney World.
How'd you know Newell was my honey?
And you plan that trip. Well, you know what? The travel agents at MEI and Mouse Fan Travel should be your next decision to make because they're going to help you plan that trip. If you're new to Walt Disney World planning, they can give you assistance. If you've done it 1,000 times, guess what? They can do all that stuff that no one wants to do anymore. ADRs stink. You have to call. We don't have that time, sir. Okay, what about this restaurant? I don't have time for that kind of stuff. That's why I make the travel agents do it for me. And you know what? They will do it for you. And guess what? Same cost as if you did it by yourself. So why do it? Give MEI and Mousefan Travel a try. Visit them online at www.mousefantravel.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, August 19th, 2009, and this is episode 606 of WDW Today. Hi, Matt Hochberger, StudiosCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
Wider. I sound like a dentist, don't I? Okay, everybody, rinse and spit.
Oh, I know this. Not you, sir, is like the next line.
I know.
Yes, go ahead.
Ellen's Energy Adventure.
That is correct. It's not the Carousel of Progress.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy. Also joining us on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Hi, Mike.
Trying to steal my thunder. Hey, Matt.
Yeah, well, you know, you are the man who came up with the stupid Judy thing.
Don't blame me for that.
So you're the one, huh?
Also on today's show is the fabulous Annette Owens of MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. How are you, Annette?
Oh, just fine, and thanks for not blaming me for anything.
Stupid Annette, stupid energy.
Still early in the show, Annette. Still early in the show.
It is still early. Yeah, it is.
And it's Wednesday, and that means we're answering your listener questions. And Scopa, we were kind of bashing on you before the show, but you
kind of.
Okay, we were.
I got marks on my legs and marks on my arms and my back. God.
But boy, you got
these guys. Go ahead.
But the listeners are about to pile on you. So are you ready for this?
God.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
All right. Well, Mike, you might recall probably I think last week we were talking about the races at Walt Disney World. You mentioned the Iron Man at Walt Disney World. Well, I've got 3 emails here from 3 different
Wow.
And here's the first one's from Jim McKay. Right? Scopa said that they stopped the Iron Man at Disney World. Actually, they still have the half Iron Man at Disney World the 3rd weekend in May.
Right. So Iron Man is one thing. Half Iron Man is another thing. They're 2 separate things.
It's more of a bronze man, really.
So I was correct. Next comment. Next email.
Next email is from Anna Tinsman of Aspen, Colorado. Writes, on the 600th show, someone asked if Walt Disney World does triathlons. Well, yes, they do. When I was at Walt Disney World in May, they had the half Ironman triathlon. The date was May 17th. Sorry, Mike, your answer was wrong.
No, I was right. Full Ironman is not there. Half Ironman is another different. It's a completely different event. So that's 2 for 2. Go on, Matt.
Next email is from Greg in Arlington, Virginia. I was at Fort Wilderness during this May's triathlon race, not as a competitor. It did not snarl traffic too badly. We got to Epcot by rope drop on the day of the race. It was quite a sight. The entire field near the Pioneer Hall petting zoo area was filled with carbon fiber bikes. So for the listener looking for the triathlon event, it's not apparently run directly by Disney, but it's at Fort Wilderness and will happen again next May.
That's correct.
And you can go to www.floridahalfironman.com for more information on that. So thank you to our listeners for correcting Scopa.
Thank you very much for trying to correct me, yes.
Next email is from Dee Dee of Frankport, Illinois, who writes, I'm going to the World October 3rd. I have a 4-year-old son with autism, and I heard that there's special needs pass I can get so my son doesn't have to wait in line. I heard that we can wait somewhere else that might be quieter or less crowded. I was wondering what I would need to bring with me so that I can get the special needs pass for my son. Last time we went with my son was not the best while waiting in line, so I was hoping to get the pass this year. Well, I think first thing I think you'd all agree with me on this one is to make sure that Dee Dee gets that book, Deb Wills and Deb Coma's book, Open Mouse, which covers all those things. And in there, it's going to not only there's a whole section on autism there, Dee Dee. It'll also go over all the details so we don't butcher it up over there in terms of what you need. Because you want to make sure you get the right stuff so you can get that card. Because there is that card that's available for anyone with special needs and it's not just restricted to people with autism. There's a variety of different ailments that it qualifies you for. So definitely, the book will help you get that information and make sure that you get. It's a great resource, and I know that a couple of us over here have the copies of it, and it's wonderful. So I definitely recommend it. Next email is from Kathy from New Jersey, 20 miles west of the GWB. You go on that bridge every day, don't you?
Every day.
Kathy writes, just back from a great weekend at Magic Meets. Matt, I'm the old lady with the MGM magazines. Ah, yes. Thank you very much, Kathy. Kathy writes, enjoyed Matt's Moving to Disney and Scopa's Hidden Treasure presentation. And when I came home suffering from withdrawals, Mike came through with the recordings from the ballroom. Great job, all of you, except Len. Paris over Camp Hill. Really, Len? I agree with you 100%, Kathy. Anyway, I was on the treadmill listening to episode 601 when I heard Matt's intro for All-Star Vacation Homes. I almost fell off. Matt, what were you...
I know where this is going. I know exactly where this is going.
Go for it. Woo-hoo.
Matt, you are the same age as my son, so I'll speak to you as a mother. What were you thinking? Floating in your private pool while your wife cooks in the beautiful full kitchen? Wow. I can only hope it's a slip of the tongue in an effort to describe the tremendous advantages of All-Star. Either that or you're spending too much time in the Primetime Cafe. Love the podcast and Mike's blogs and all ears and touring plans and my salvation, Mouse World Radio.
Oh, thank you. And in all fairness, we did beat Matt up in between when the show started and after he did that ad read, so he got a word full out of us, or an earful out of us.
That's right. I am now...
Not just from me, right?
I apologize. Next email is from... Oh, there it is. Next email is from Peter from Philly. He writes, ahoy hoy, two completely unrelated questions. First, my fiance and I have grown up and spent most of our lives in New York City, Philadelphia, Vegas, Hong Kong, and Italy between us, so we're admittedly both pretty bad food snobs when it comes to the dining experience. Don't get me wrong, we're not picky eaters, just the opposite actually. We both will eat anything that doesn't move too quickly. And we're not above a turkey leg for breakfast or a Dole Whip for dinner. We just enjoy unique and alternative dining experiences. Most of World Showcase has been a disappointment, especially Nine Dragons and Tutto Italia, P.F. Chang and Olive Garden type food, although good gateway drugs into the world of ethnic eating are disappointing when you've had, quote, the real thing.
Right.
And I agree with him so far on this.
Yep.
We've gone looking for good eats at California Grill, Marrakesh, Spoodles, Tepanito, Narcoosseee, and Chefs de France, and none of them were wows, and certainly blah as far as value goes. Unlike our experiences at Boma, Gico, and Victoria and Albert's, as odd as it sounds, Victoria and Albert's chef table is actually quite a good value for the type of food that you get, Kobe beef, foie gras, etc. On an upcoming trip, we have a car, so we're curious, are there any recommendations for wow dining experiences that we're missing outside the parks and resorts in downtown Disney, Celebration, and even Orlando at large?
Wow, this would be something that Len could really help with.
Well, I think, first of all, I wanted to add one thing that was on property. Peter, if you like the rest, based on what you like, Boma, Gico, Victoria and Albert's, check out Citricos at the Grand Floridian Resort. I think you're going to like that one. My parents are a bit of a food snobs also. They're more snobs than food snobs. But anyway, they love Gico. And,
do they listen?
No.
Not anymore.
Wait. Why no? Why? Why would you say no? Like it's a bad thing?
No, they definitely don't listen.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, at any rate, Citricos would be my suggestion.
See how they raised you.
Off-site places that I'm trying to think of, if you're a real foodie, which, the best place for you to go, Peter, is probably going to be, I think they have some stupid name for it, like Restaurant Row or something. Every town has that name for, the area. But it's basically, if you come out of Walt Disney World, you come out of, it's on Sand Lake Road. So basically, if you come out of Disney World at downtown Disney, and you hang a left, and that'll put you on 535. And you follow 535, it actually turns into like a Popka Vineland Road, but it's the same road. You just drive straight until you hit Sand Lake Road. You take a right, and as soon as you make that right, there's a slew of restaurants down there, just on both sides of the road, all the way from there until about I-4, really. So you've got a real good selection of restaurants over there, Peter. So I would suggest that area. Some real good choices in there. Check out places like Urban Spoon or TripAdvisor for recommendations on which ones, but there's great options over there. And that's someplace I would definitely check out. Next email is from Chris, who writes, what tactics do you employ when you get a CPF or close proximity follower, and how do you deal with the situation?
What does that mean?
What?
You know, you're in line for a ride, right?
Oh,
Okay.
And someone's like, creeping
Bumping
up
you.
on you. Yeah, exactly. A little too close for comfort.
Well, let's see. You can do what Len say the French don't do, and that's turn around, sneeze without covering your mouth. You can move quickly.
You can let them go ahead of you.
You can let them go ahead of you. Well, yeah. Or you can just turn around and look at them and not say anything and kind
I've
of
been
stare.
known to move the bag, to get the bag, move the bag, so there's a little placement. At least if they're going to hit something, it's my bag and not me.
Yeah, I would use probably the backpack. If you have a bag or something, use that as a bumper. And, I don't know if we want to say you gently return the favor, but,
I just turn around and look at them. Don't
Yeah.
say anything. Yeah, look, give that deranged look, and then
You
turn
just-
around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if this was Newell and this was in the bus, I mean, you've had lately, according to your Twitter, you've had people some old lady fell asleep on you.
She wasn't all that old, but yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't
That's
like-
close.
I don't
Oh,
like
you're
this-
so
that's-
cuddly, Mike. you know?
Well, yeah. And she needs a breath mint too, so that
Well, she was asleep,
still.
Next email is from Kathleen. He writes, "Hi, Matt, Mike, Len, and Annette. Just got back from Walt Disney World a few weeks ago, and I'm already daydreaming about our next trip to Walt Disney World. For the next trip, I am trying to figure out which would be better for my family. One of the family suites at All Star Music, or one of the moderates like Port Orleans. Our family consists of me, my husband, and our 5-year-old son, who will probably be 6 at the time of our trip. In the past, we've been fortunate enough to stay at the DVC resorts in a 2-bedroom at the Villas at Wilderness Lodge, generously paid for by my husband's parents a couple of years ago, who were also with us, and then a 1-bedroom at Animal Kingdom Villas for just the 3 of us in February 2009. And although the resorts were wonderful, money's getting tighter and making the expense of a Disney Vacation Club harder to justify. We really did love those resorts, though, especially Animal Kingdom Villas. The animals were great, and the restaurants were really fabulous. Our son loved Simba's Clubhouse, too. But I'm trying to think of a less expensive hotel option for our next time. We do want to be on property, as I prefer not to drive on vacation, and as I always happily follow the advice of the unofficial guide to take a midday break at the hotel. My husband almost always takes a nap during the time, while my son and I eat lunch and then either go swimming, explore the hotel, or watch a little TV back in the other room. So having a separate bedroom with a door to close is pretty handy. But is handy worth an extra $200 a night to us? Probably not. I was thinking of either a moderate or family suite at All Star Music. What do you guys think? I think it's a great Annette question.
Do they have a moderate suites in it?
Coronado Springs has some, but it's a moderate, but it would almost be cheaper to go to a Fort Wilderness cabin if you're looking at that kind of thing in that price range. The suites at All Star, they're really nice for having that extra space. So if somebody wants to take a nap, you are in the other room. But it actually is the cost of 2 rooms at a value resort for that. Generally, that's how that runs. So it would be cheaper to go with a moderate and be in one room. Again, it's hard to go from a 1-bedroom and a 2-bedroom villa to a hotel room.
Yeah, I would probably say, I know they wanted that separate bedroom, but I'm thinking what you just said makes a lot of sense in that they're coming from the deluxe resorts. I think a moderate might be a good step down rather than going cold turkey and going straight to value.
There's going to be more for them to do if they're wanting to watch TV, eat lunch. The food court, say at Riverside, any of them, but you go to the food court. They've got the TV going there with cartoons for the kids. You can eat lunch there while somebody's back in the room taking a nap. Lots of pool choices every day, because at a moderate you get several pools to choose from instead of the one at the All Star. So, I guess I'm kind of leaning towards a moderate.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Next email's from Brett Caldwell of Evanston, Illinois, recently retired Disney World Moms panelist, currently reapplying for his man card. That's right, and Brett's our favorite Disney mom not named Laura Spencer. Brett writes, okay, enough questions for Len already. Let's give the guy a break, and let's be honest, don't you guys and Annette need a break from him sometimes too? Brett, do you see he's not on the show today? Coincidence? Coincidence?
I think not.
I think not.
This one's for Matt, Mike, and Annette, if present, are also welcome to chime in. My question is about an attraction in Hollywood Studios. Insert not-so-subtle promo for StudioCentral.com here. Oh, yeah. Who writes, I've read and heard about how Toy Story Mania would calibrate the level of difficulty of the game based on your performance in the first screen of the ride. But I was also told by Imagineer, who was involved with the design of the attraction, that the characters in the first screen pie throwing practice round do react more quickly, for example, protect their faces from the pies, if they detect you're a good shooter, but this doesn't affect the rest of the attraction. So is the calibration on the rest of the attraction a myth or real? If it's real, and examples of how the attraction gets easier or harder on each of the screens. This is my take on it, Brett. I heard the same things you heard too. Basically, if you go through the attraction and you're a complete noob to it, I mean, you're shooting, whatever you see, right? You're going to get whatever score you get. If you continue employing that strategy of just shooting the most obvious targets out there, your score's never going to get much better. What I think what really does happen is you have to start paying attention to the subtleties. You have to get better at the game, meaning you have to have better skill at the game, better aim, and better accuracy, so you can hit those targets that are further away that get more points. The next step beyond that is to activate the hidden things in the attraction. There are secrets in that attraction that activate certain things. When you activate those things, that's how you get the really big scores. So that's really, I think, what when people say that it gets more, there's a level of difficulty. The game doesn't change based on who's playing it, but it does have different layers of the game that you have to play to. And if you're interested in those secrets I mentioned at Toy Story Midway Mania, I've got a shameless plug I'll make here for StudioCentral.com. I'll put a link in the show notes. And what I mean by I mean Philip. We'll put a link in the show notes to that page over there for you, Brett. So good luck on your next round on Toy Story. Next email is from Jen Vanderveen, who writes, "Okay, guys, and Annette, I need your help. I'm going to Epcot on December 20th and would like to make it so I can see Illuminations. Normally, this would not be a big deal, as I've listened to you all often enough to know where to go and to get there early. However, there are 3 possible complicating factors that I've never dealt with before. First, that day is a 9 on the crowd calendar. Second, I'm planning a candlelight processional dinner package that day. And third, we're traveling with my in-laws. Let's just say they don't get it. So I need to find a place that we can stake out, preferably with seating for my mother-in-law. If we do the early show of Candlelight Processional, we should be okay. But if we get one of the later shows, should I abandon all hope? Also, my husband has suggested getting my mother-in-law one of those portable stools, walking sticks, so that she would have something to sit on while we waited. Would we be lynched for such a thing?" I don't think you'd be lynched at all. I've seen plenty of guests with that. I mean, you gotta carry it around with you, which is the only real caveat to that. And I don't think it'll fit in one of the lockers in the front of the park. So as long as she doesn't mind carrying it, or somebody minds carrying it, that wouldn't be a problem at all. But Scopa, what do you think here for Jen in terms of her challenges and seeing Illuminations?
Well, I think that one of the things that and I think she's got a handle on this, is one of the things she needs to do is to try to go to that very first Candlelight Processional show, and I believe it's probably around 5 or 5:30. Or she can go to the second one. Now, as far as where to watch Illuminations, here's my suggestion. I forget the name of what's the name of the bakery goodie place in Norway?
The Kriegel Bakery?
Kringoli Bakery or whatever.
Yeah.
I know of people who will sit there and watch Illuminations. They'll sit in the very corner, the corner closest to the water, you might say, and they could actually watch. Illuminations. It's a good spot to see the globe. I'm not sure about the rest of the area, but not too many people will sit there to watch Illuminations. So I would suggest that as a potential place, and the rest of the party can go towards the water and watch Illuminations there. And her mother, I guess, could sit there. That's one place I could think of. The other place I could think of is possibly the steps on Canada, but I don't know if they really want people to sit on those steps.
Yeah, I think the other place that we found to be decent, especially late in the game, is by Germany. Just kind of it's really between Germany and that Africa area thing. So yeah. I mean, with it being a 9, it'll be a little crowded, to say the least. But that would be a viable option for you.
And that close in to Christmas, there's going to be lots and lots of dessert parties going on, special events. So even if you walk by and pick out a spot, when going by a day or two earlier, that may turn into a roped off area. So I would have a couple of ideas, and don't feel bad about maybe sending your husband ahead to get the spot. while y'all were coming. Time to separate out. See, now I'm sending the men out since the women were cooking breakfast.
Mark.
Next email is from Jen Gandy of Pennsville, New Jersey. He writes, "Hi guys, and Annette. My family and I are heading out into the world in late April. Newell, cue welcome back Cotter music here. I read somewhere that if you valet park at the Disney Resort, the valet fee is good for any other resort that day. Is that true? I know regular parking is the case. Like if you park at Magic Kingdom and you pay for parking, your parking pass is good for the other day. But I don't believe you can valet at Boardwalk and then go valet at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and it's just the one fee.
I have no idea.
I always use the Tables in Wonderland discount, and I know that Newell and Annette, you guys use your DVC free valet options.
Right.
But I would be shocked if that was the case, that you could valet at one resort, pay $10 there, and then valet anywhere for the rest of the day for free, basically. Because
the parking lots let you do that. You could pay one, and it's good for the day. I can't see why they wouldn't do it, but now that it's a private company, it's a third-party company, I wouldn't be surprised either.
You know what I'm
Well,
thinking?
there's a lot
Mike?
of people running back and forth.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm thinking it's different because you've got different hotels. And
Yeah, I don't think-
they sort
you're
of
right.
have to self-survive, or they sort of have to pay for their own existence. So I think that might be the case there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm thinking no. Yep. Next email is from Sue, who writes, "Hey, it's Sue, SWB Mom on WGW today in Pittsburgh. Obligatory Go Steelers. I got a couple questions. We're not especially interested in the American Idol experience. If the big show is at the end of the day, will the rides keep working while the show is on? For example, can we ride Toy Story Mania over and over since most of the Porsche people will be in the Idol theater?
I don't think so.
If it depends. If the park closes at 7 and the last American Idol shows at 7, then the answer is no. Once the park closes, whatever the park time is, that's it. If you're online, you're okay. But if you rode at 6:55 Toy Story Midway Mania, you got out and it's 7:30, no, you can't get back online, even if American Idol is still going on. And generally, that's how it works. Usually, they tie the American Idol showtime to the end of the park day. So, in that case, no.
Hey, Matt,
Yes.
really quick, just going back, I'm looking up on All Ears about the parking. It's according to All Ears. Another tip is that once you pay the fee for valet parking, you can now use this service at any other deluxe resort for the rest of that day with no additional charge except tipping the attendants on receiving the car.
Well, I stand by what Deb says, so I retract my comments, and Deb says it's true, so consider it true then.
Right. It says you generally will be given a colored hang tag that will identify you to the attendant that you have paid for the day. Make sure you have the cast member note that when you're leaving your car on subsequent visits.
Yeah, you got to make sure the first time you mention you're going to be valeting somewhere else. But that's a great tip.
Wow.
Didn't know. I learned something today.
Love it when we learn too. That's cool.
Sue adds also, any news on the Verizon Disney deal that will allow you to get ride times, etc. on your Verizon cell phone? When does this go into effect? Love the tent webcam. Thanks.
Oh, yay.
Wow.
That's right.
Yeah, we just got back from that. That was, yeah.
I forgot our question now.
The Verizon.
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I haven't
since
heard
that
a
initial
thing
announcement.
about. Yeah, exactly. The only Verizon thing that they were pushing was the Kim Possible attraction at Epcot. That was it.
Right.
That was the only thing that. I guess when the iPhone comes around to Verizon, you can do.
There you go.
They'll have an app for that.
What's that? iPhone?
Yeah.
Next email is from Tom from Kentuckiana, who writes, hello all. Since 2006, I've been fortunate enough to take my family on 3 wonderful Walt Disney World vacations. We stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge, the Wilderness Lodge, the Contemporary, and the Polynesian Resort, our favorite.
Nice.
The industry I work in has been hit very hard by the recent economic downturn, and although it was financially difficult, we decided that our annual Walt Disney World trip was important enough that we had to find a way to go in 2009. After much planning and consulting with Mouse Fan Travel, thank you, Susie, we decided on Port Orleans French Quarter and booked an 8-night stay beginning April 30th. Woo, welcome back.
Nice.
Yeah. Good trip.
I hope it was good.
Don't forget 3.
Knowing that we stayed at the deluxe resorts mentioned above, what can we expect at French Quarter besides what the websites and travel guides say? We're the type of family that does like to return to our resort midday for a swim and also enjoy spending time there after we leave the parks at night. I'm sure we'll have a great time. After all, it's Walt Disney World, but we've never tried to moderate, and I don't want to expect more than what is reasonable. You'll put on a fine show and keep the commute to and from work enjoyable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Port Orleans, it's my favorite of my. It's my preferred moderate resort, all things considered. Coming from the deluxe resorts, you're going to notice the lobby is going to be significantly smaller, and the resort activities are going to be significantly less. But you're still going to. I think you're still going to be happy. I think you were happy with with the trip. I mean, at Annette, what are your thoughts on someone if someone asked you this? If you were Susie, I guess in this case, what would you tell Tom here in terms of what to expect when you go from a deluxe resort? That's all you know to a moderate resort.
I think one of the big things is the first thing we start to tell them about is the food court area, because when you're at a deluxe property, they have more restaurants, they have more options for you to choose. But when you go to a moderate, you have this huge food court area that you can go and you get all your options. Everybody can get what they want. You don't have to worry about, Susie wants this and little Timmy wants that, and you got to go two different places. So you at least have the food court area. Now the French Quarter, it does have a smaller food court than the other moderates. But you have those options there. Also, there are activities that you can do around the resort that are a little different. Say at French Quarter and at Riverside, you have that water taxi that can take you to downtown Disney. You're not going to get that over at the deluxe properties just because of where they're located. So, there's all of the resorts have their own little special vibes. Their little special little perks for being there. But
I think the dining point was great. I totally missed that one. So absolutely, the dining is so much different between the two resorts. I mean, especially Port Orleans. I mean, unfortunately, the dining is probably one of the few downsides of the resort, in my opinion. And it definitely, if you're coming from any of those other resorts, more so the other ones than like Animal Kingdom Lodge, it's dining. Well, it's got good dining also. So yeah, I think that would probably be the biggest thing to keep in mind over there. Next email is from Felipe Duma of the Netherlands. Writes, "Good day, y'all. Just wanted to say that I love the show. Keep up the great work. My question is the following. I really enjoy the WDW Today live show chat. However, these close up after the live show is finished. Do you guys know of any other chats for Disney fans that aren't just cover-ups for creepy perverts to hook up with you? Or would it be possible to keep the Walt Disney World Today chat online forever?" I'm trying to think. There's 1,001 Disney forums, but I'm not sure if I know of any like Disney chats that are just like out there. I know there are websites that have chat rooms for their own websites over there,
right?
But not like for chats, like DisneyWorldChat.com, and you go there and it's purely for Disney chat. Do you guys know of any?
I don't know any. There have been sites that I have been on in the past where they've had scheduled chats. There was a site that I used to. Well, it's no longer around. We had chats every night, and they were specific chats. Like one night there would be trivia, and next night we talk about DVC and whatever. But I don't know of any right now that are doing that. I think what you said, Matt, would be the best bet to sign up in one of these forums. Like I can't think of any, but and from time to time they will say, we're scheduling a chat. They may have a monthly chat. But it's not something that's going all the time.
They're just so hard to moderate these days. You have to have somebody dedicated to sit there and moderate these rooms because all the creeps that show up.
Yeah, I mean, the question we can better answer. Basically, the answer to the first question was we don't know of any chat rooms that aren't related. They're not just chat rooms for the website that happens to be on. But for ours, I mean, we have a great time with it. I mean, during our live shows, I think the chat is really one of the highlights of the live shows. It really makes it for a lot of fun, especially the great comments and suggestions we get from our listeners. But
Janine.
That's right. But the problem is like Mike said, I mean, if we keep it open, that'd be, I think it's a good idea. But the problem with that is, you have to, if you let people in your house, you got to watch it. You know what I mean? You're responsible for it. So certainly we want to make sure that it's a positive experience for everyone there. And if we get to that point, well, maybe we'll look at that. So it's not outside. I'm not ruling it out, but right now, no. But that just makes definitely come by for those live shows. So that's what makes it that much more interesting. Next email is from Lee, who's a 35-year-old male. Just thought I'd specify the gender-neutral name, from Lafayette, California. He writes, "Hey, Matt, Mike, Len, and the fabulous Annette. Love the show. Len, love the book." Why, thank you. A friend and I are traveling to the world the first week of 2009, whatever, we soon, and have the deluxe dining plan. Our first day, we're planning on spending the day at Animal Kingdom, per Len's crowd calendar suggestion.
You can keep going over the song.
We then have a later reservation at the Coral Reef for dinner. I had thought that there was a bus between Animal Kingdom and Epcot, but another friend told me that there is actually not. Is there a bus between Animal Kingdom and Epcot? If not, what is the quickest way? There is definitely a bus between Animal Kingdom and Epcot, right?
Oh, yeah. That's a long walk.
Absolutely. Between the parks, there's absolutely transportation. The only issue you're ever going to run into is transportation to downtown Disney. And that's simply because people used to abuse the parking over there. They would park at downtown Disney and then go to the parks so that they could avoid the parking fee. And that's the only issue that you would run into there. I think, Newell, it's time for our last email of the day.
I would say it is.
All right. Well, that means it's time for our last question of the day. Last question of the day means I will give Mr. Newell 3 questions to choose from. 1 will be answered today. The other 2 go back in the email queue to be answered much after your trip. So, Mike, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I love the sound effects, Mike. Really on top of the ball here. Let's go with it. All right. First option is The Force wasn't with us, but Tink was. Second option, Magical Depress. And the third option, Once Upon a Potty Break.
Oh, we have to go with the potty break.
All right. Our last email today is from John Gallahorn of Carrollton, Virginia, who's 757 Hokie at StudioCentral.com and Gallahorn at WDWToday.com.
Hoo-ah! Hoo-ah!
I have double hoo-ah for you. Greetings of Mangello to Annette, the lovely Lady Owens, Matt Hollywood Hochberg, Mesozoic Mike Scopa, Mike Sir Mix-a-Lot Newell, and Len Tightwad Test.
Oh. Oh.
Why can't he be here?
Oh. Ow.
Being the Walt Disney World restroom connoisseurs that we all know you are, after hearing episode 569, When You Gotta Go, I thought I'd share a recent theme park experience as well and ask a question. I live in the Norfolk, Virginia beach area, and my wife, 2 daughters, and I have an annual pass to Busch Gardens in Williamsburg. During a recent visit to the gardens, newly opened Sesame Street Forest of Fun area, well, nature called, and boy, was I oh so pleasantly surprised. Don't worry, I'm keeping this clean. What did I find in the restroom but a pair of sparkly new Dyson Blade hand dryers, which have now bumped the scrubbing machine Bubbles automatic shower cleaner out of the top spot on my list of all-time great bathroom accessories. Perhaps like me, you've seen a commercial on TV by the Dyson vacuum cleaner, folks. It's talking about this cool invention. But this was my first hands-on, or should I say first hands-in experience with one. You actually place your hands down inside the unit, which triggers the jets to start blasting your hands with a ring of highly pressurized, super sanitized air, at which point you slowly pull your hands up out of the unit, and by the time you can see your fingertips, they're as dry as Len Testa's liquor cabinet the day after St. Patty's. Oh, the glorious fresh feeling that comes after sandblasting your hands clean. Now, if only they change the door so you can push it open to exit the bathroom instead of having to pull on that nasty germ-ridden handle. That is, I've never seen that before. Have any of you guys heard of that before?
Nope.
No.
Anyway, anyhow, this leads me to my question. Have any of these cutting-edge contraptions ever made their way into Walt Disney World? I've seen some of the accelerator dryers that pump out the high-pressure air and smear your skin around in a freaky kind of way. But how about the Dysons? I think they'd fit in especially nice in Future World, seeing how they're all experimental and prototypey and whatnot. But otherwise, I mean, it's pretty same. The thing I do like about this happens usually in the deluxe resorts. If you go to the restrooms over there, they have hand towels for you to dry your hands on, just like the rich people.
Like the rich people.
It is fancy. He's right. It is a fancy.
Beach and Yacht Club, yeah.
And they have Boardwalk, Animal Kingdom. It's great. I feel like Mike Newell must have felt when he grew up and flew all those times to Walt Disney World while the rest of us drove. John adds, thanks for sharing your potty knowledge. No, Scopa, I'm not talking in your New England accent about Mickey's Not So Scary. Keep up the fine work, and may all of your bathroom breaks be as pleasant as mine. Potty knowledge. Oh, get it? Potty knowledge, like party knowledge. Scopa joke. Because you talk with a funny accent. Well, and don't forget that this episode of WDW Today has been sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And you know what? Free dining is available for much of the rest of the year. So why not get on top of that? And why not have the travel agents, MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, book you free dining? Then after that, you tell them, hey, insert travel agent in here, I would like to get ADRs at this place, and this place, and this place, and this place, and this place for my party, and they'll do it for you. That's right. So you get the free dining and somebody to do it for you, and it's the same price as it would have been if you did it by yourself.
Nice.
So give them a try. Visit them online at www.mousefantravel.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, and of course, the fabulous Annette Owens. Annette, you're the best.
Thank you much.
I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show. Much love to Newell.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.